Hello everybody, Xbox Game Pass has officially launched on PC, and I feel like I would be doing all of you a massive disservice if I didn't let you know about how good of a deal it actually is. We'll talk about Game Pass, how it works, and the pricing of it in a moment, but I want to let you guys know that the game in the background you're seeing is a little game called Void Bastards. It is a first-person roguelite game with an amazing comic book art style that reminds me a lot of an old game called 13, which some of you may remember. It came out a while ago, but it was really good. This mimics that comic book art style, graphic novel art style, and it does it in a way that is gorgeous and evocative. It's a hilarious game in which you basically have your own ship. You are an inmate that's like thrown up into space. I'm not going to get too much into the story, but you have to go and explore. And the way you do so is very FTL-like. You know, you're jumping from derelict spaceship to different, derelict space stations, and there's dudes on them, and you're going through exploring these like mini dungeons. And if you die, all of the research that you did keeps with your new character, so you progress throughout the game in a true roguelite fashion, which is definitely less forgiving than a normal game would be, but more forgiving than a traditional roguelike is. So with this game, you could play it on Game Pass right now. If you got Game Pass, it is one of the games that are available, and it's not the only one that's available. There's tons of really good games on there, which is why I want to bring this up. And no, this video is not sponsored. This is me genuinely saying, like, Game Pass on PC is really good. Now, in the past, if you wanted to play a UWP game, a United Windows Platform game, such as like Quantum Break or Sea of Thieves, you had to go through the Windows 10 store on your PC, and that, let's just be honest, was a nightmare. That store is awful. It always will be. I don't understand how they can continue to operate it the way they do. It's just bad. It's got a bad interface. It's really annoying to get anywhere that you want to. And if you plan to play things like Sea of Thieves, it's even more annoying because you're like, well, I could go play a game on Steam or Battle.net or even the Epic store if you have games on there, and it's really easy just to boot up your game and go. But on the freaking Windows Store, it's so annoying to find the game that you want, to buy it, then to play it. But they have fixed that by launching a new Xbox app. Now, you'll need to update your PC if you have not. If you're running on Windows 10, you make sure that you have the latest update. But with that, you can then go download this new Xbox app, which is still in beta, but is 1,000 times better than the old Windows Store. What you're seeing now is the app itself, and I just want to walk through, like, what do we got here? What are the games? How does it work? So as you can see, it is massively updated from the Windows Store, right? Like, this looks nothing like the Windows Store. It is way better layout wise, and it's just games, right? You're not seeing like any crappy random apps that you're never going to use because they're awful, right? You're just seeing games here. It is an Xbox app in its core, so it is purely games. You have the store, which obviously, again, you can look up stuff, you can find all that, but then they have the special Game Pass area, which you can go into, and it shows all of the Game Pass stuff. More specifically, you can go to the Show All to be able to see all of the Game Pass games, and we're going to run through them all because I think that the games alone are going to speak for themselves, and then I'll tell you the price. And we'll see if you go and get it or not. So first off, of course, you have Sea of Thieves on there. The newest updates have been coming out for it. Sea of Thieves is really good. It's totally on there on Game Pass. State of Decay 2, Forza Horizon 4, both are awesome games. Gears of War 4, if you're into the Gears games. Astroneer is a fantastic little space game that is multiplayer, so if you have other people with Game Pass or with Astroneer, you can play with them, which is, again, a fantastic little thing. Ori and the Blind Forest, an amazing little platformer that is gorgeous. Would suggest that one. Rise of the Tomb Raider. The other Tomb Raider games aren't on here yet, but apparently they are coming. And of course, so are more Halo games. They have Halo Wars 2, Halo Spartan Strike, Spartan Assault. They have a couple other ones, I believe, but all of the Halo games are going to be making their way to Game Pass on PC. So that's awesome. Wolfenstein 2 Moonlighter, which is an RPG where you go and make your own little shop after, you know, exploring dungeons and getting items, you sell those items. I have it installed. I've played a bit of it. I really do like it, but I think games like Recettear, however you pronounce it, are better in the shopkeeping regard, but it's still a good game. In fact, this and Hellblade: Sesuna's Sacrifice, which is also on here, are both a part of the Humble monthly bundle this month. But, you know, if you have Game Pass, you can play both of them and beat both of them in the amount of time that the next month is going to happen before you get those games. So it's worth it, especially for the price. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, if you're into fighting games. Surviving Mars, if you're into kind of base builders and strategy games. Super Hot is on here. There's not much more to say about that other than it's fantastic. Mutant Year Zero. This game is weird. It is, it's like a mix between XCOM and Wasteland. It's got XCOM stuff to it. It plays a lot like XCOM if you've played the newest XCOM games, but it is a lot of fun, and it's set in essentially a post-apocalyptic thing. It's cool, it's unique, but you kind of got to be in the mood for it if you're into that kind of game. Obviously, Fez and Opus Magnum are both really good puzzle games. Slay the Spire, if you're into more card-like experiences. Banner Saga 2 is a great RPG, would suggest it. Metro freaking Exodus is on Game Pass, which, like, recently came out, so if your computer could run it, all right, yeah, that's the big thing. If your computer can run it, then you could play Metro Exodus. Battlefleet Gothic is a Warhammer game where you basically get to command really big ships, and it's super freaking cool. Mudrunner, if you like those kind of simulator games, you get in a big truck and you drive it through mud. There's not much else to say there. Full Metal Furries. It is Furies, but every time I read it, it is, to me, Furries, which would be a completely different game. Is a cool action RPG. I have played it. I haven't played a lot of it. Played about an hour of it, but I really enjoyed what I've played of it. Pony Island sounds hilarious. I've never seen anything on it until actually Game Pass. Bridge Constructor Portal. So if you're into Bridge Constructor games, that's on there. Abzu's on there. Hollow Knight's on there. There's just a lot of freaking stuff. Valkyria Chronicles, that alone is going to last you an entire month of Game Pass if you really wanted to. Shenmue 1 and 2, if you're into, you know, Japanese RPGs, that's a thing. Into the Breach, fantastic strategy game. Would highly recommend it. Obviously, Void Bastards you were seeing in the background. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is a short, cool game. I found it okay, but apparently a lot of other people really like it. West of Loathing is on there, which is a unique little game. Banner Saga, the first one, is on there. Vampire, which is my favorite game from last year, is on here. And this alone is worth the price. If you think you could play through Vampire in a month, then yeah, pick up Game Pass and play Vampire, because it is like a 9 out of 10 for me. I think it was fantastic. It had really cool mechanics. Some of there was obviously issues I had with the game. No game is perfect, but Vampire is a really great game that you should play. You have all sorts of other cool games here. You have more narrative-based games like Thimbleweed Park, and there's another one that we're going to come up on here in a minute. You have Tyranny, which is a cool RPG where you get to beat the bad guy. Metal Slug. If you've never played Metal Slug, it's fantastic. We Happy Few is on here. Tacoma's on here. Guacamelee 2 is on here. You have Ruiner, which is a cool cyberpunk top-down game. Would suggest it. Oxenfree is the other cool narrative game that I would suggest. The Outer Worlds is on here. Like what? Like that is going to be a game that you're going to be able to play at launch on full on Game Pass. You have games like Flame in the Flood, which is a survival game. Rime, Stealth Inc. 2, Wasteland 2. Wasteland 3 was shown at the Xbox press conference and looks amazing. Wasteland 2 is a fantastic game that I would suggest, especially the director's cut, which improves the game quite a bit. Everspace is a cool space roguelite game where you're in a spaceship and it's really cool. And there is a VR version available. I'm not sure if it's available on Game Pass, but it is a great game that I would highly suggest. Turing Test, 10 out of 10 game for me. If you were going to get the Game Pass for one game, get it for Turing Test if you're into games like Portal, for instance. I think Turing Test is a fantastic narrative game that has a really good set of puzzles to it and reminds me a lot of Portal in some ways, but also I am a person who loves philosophy, and Turing Test goes into a lot of ethics and so like, what is an AI? Is it living? Is it not? And it is so good. There's a couple other games left on here: Halo Wars Definitive Edition, Hatoful Boyfriend. It's there. Bomber Crew is really cool if you like FTL-like games. You get to control a bomber and that kind of stuff. But can you get the point here? These are just what's available right now. They're going to have over 100 games available by August, and there's more and more coming, especially because there's a lot of games that they announced at their press conference coming out next year that you're going to be able to play day one if you have Game Pass. You just download it and play it. So how does Game Pass work? What are the pricings? Let's get into it. So at its core, Game Pass is a monthly subscription service where you pay a price and you get access to all of those games that I just talked about. This has been on console for quite some time on the Xbox, so if you own an Xbox, you're familiar with this, but you can also kind of think of it like PlayStation Plus in some regards. You're going to get a ton of free games that you can play as long as you have that subscription. If your subscription ever runs out, your save files are not deleted. You can go resubscribe and play those games. So it's an economical way to play a lot of games. So if you're a kid in college, or if you're a high school student, or hell, if you're an adult with a family and you have a limited amount of time for games, but you're pretty sure that you can focus one or two down a month and have fun in those games, then Game Pass is a really freaking good deal. So there's 3 different versions. You have the Ultimate version, the PC version, and the console version. The console version is the $10 a month, $9.99. Let's just call it what it is. It's $10. And that gets you Game Pass on Xbox, which I have, by the way. There's some really good games on that. But then you have the one on PC, which is in beta, so it's only $5 a month. But, and here's why it's a good deal, even at $5 a month, by the way, it's a great deal. But for $1, you can join for a month and get all of those games that I just was talking about. You can play any number of them for an entire month and jump in and, do whatever you want. You could play one and think that, it's not that great, and then move on to the next. But they also have the Ultimate Game Pass. Now, Game Pass Ultimate comes with Game Pass on the console. So if you have an Xbox, it's a great deal. Then you have Xbox Live Gold that comes with it. So again, if you have an Xbox, it's a good deal. But that is $14.99. So it's $15 a month, which is $5 cheaper than if you got Gold on its own and Game Pass on its own. Now, additionally, you also get it on PC. So you could do the PC 1 month thing and then do the Ultimate 1 month thing. But obviously, if you have an Xbox, then the Ultimate is going to be the better deal for you. But if you're just planning to play Game Pass on PC, then the $1 a month, or $1 for the first month on PC, and then doing the $1 for the first Ultimate version nets you $2 for 2 months of Game Pass, and it's a crazy good deal. Like, you should really consider this just because of the quality of games that are on there. You can play Metro Exodus, or Vampire, or Moonlighters, or anything, or Void Bastards. Like, it is a good deal, and you should consider it at the very least. So I want to reiterate that this is not a sponsored video. I just think that Game Pass is a really good deal, and Microsoft has done a really cool thing bringing it to the PC, especially with more stuff coming along. Now, obviously, if you had Game Pass before, there were some games you could play on PC. So, like Sea of Thieves, for example, was one of those games. But now having a dedicated, hey, this is on PC, means so much for people who are struggling with money and they don't have quite a lot and they want to be able to play awesome games. Well, now you can. And the fact of the matter is, you'll also be able to play a lot of games when they launch on their launch day that are, either exclusive to Microsoft stuff or just in general are being shown at the Xbox conference. Honestly, though, I am really curious what you guys think of Game Pass. Like, I want to get a good read on the pulse here for what the general gamer is thinking of Game Pass. Is it a good deal for you? Is it not? Is it something that you plan on getting? Because it is a service that I use and I utilize it pretty often, especially because over the last year, they've been putting the price down to like 1 month or 2 or 3 months for $1. Like every now and again, and if you signed up for it once, sometimes it resets and you get another month for $1. So I don't understand quite their reasoning there. Obviously, they just want to get a user base using it, but I can see why it is a good service, and I'm going to be honest, I will evangelize it because I think it is a good service with great games. But of course, I want to know what you guys think. So leave comments in the comments below of how you guys feel about Game Pass. But with all of that being said, I'm going to go play more Void Bastards because it's great, and I shall see you guys next time.